Alright, my Mets experience. It was kind of sudden that I was going down to Mets because I really didn't know that I was, or when I would be going on. I didn't have a time frame or anything else. My recruiter had sent down my paperwork and stuff like that, but I don't know, we just didn't hear back from them, I guess. I don't really know what happened. But I'm sleeping one morning because school had gotten canceled, so I'm in bed sleeping. And it was only 9:15, something like that in the morning. So my phone starts ringing. It was my recruiter, and I kind of ignored it. Sorry if you ever see this, but I kind of ignored it because it was so early in the morning, and I was sleeping, and I didn't feel like talking, so I just kind of ignored the call. So he sends me a text asking if I would be willing to go down to Mets, that day or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, of course, whatever, just get this done out of the way, whatever. So I call him back, and he's like, yeah, we'll go down to Mets today and take your ass bath, and then you'll go to the hotel for the night and get up the next or tomorrow, and go and do your physical and all that stuff. I was like, alright. So by that time, it's maybe 9:30 in the morning, and he told me to be at his office by 1. Like, I wasn't ready for this whatsoever. I didn't have, like, hardly any clothes clean, so they were in the laundry. So I'm, like, rushing around, calling my parents, telling them what's going on, talking to my mom, because she was all upset. Trying to get a hold of my dad at work, and just trying to get my stuff together, like my clothes, and get packed, and all that stuff. So I get to his office by 1. You have to fill out last minute paperwork. Then we went down to the Met station, which for me it's in Columbus, Ohio. So we drove down there, and he took me into the station and like checked me in and dropped me off and all that stuff. But when you get to Mets, they give you a little like binder thing that you have to read over. Just it's like the procedures and the rules and what to expect and everything else. You just have to read over that. And then when you get done with that, like you have to do fingerprints sometimes, but I don't remember if that was that day or the next day, but you have to do fingerprints sometimes. And then I went back and took my ASVAB, which took forever. I got done with that around like 6:30, 7 o'clock, something like that. And I had to wait until I think it was 9 to even go to the hotel because the group of people that were taking the ASVAB, or that I was taking the ASVAB with, were the last group to leave Mets that day and get shipped over to the hotel. So I had to wait for all of them to get done. When you get to the hotel, you go to a special room that's for like military people that are there for Mets or for whatever other reason. You go to this special room and they check you in. You have to go over the rules and procedures and all that lovely stuff. You have to sign papers and everything else. So I finally got to my room and ate dinner and went to bed. It sucked though because I didn't fall asleep until 12:30, 1 o'clock, 1:30, something like that, and you get a wake up call at 4:30. But since I was trying to be like courteous with my roommate and be out of the bathroom by the time she got up, I got up at like 3:30. So I got like 2 hours of sleep the night before. It was a really long day, like really long. So we got up the next morning, I got ready, we got a wake up call and blah 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 blah. And you have to be checked out by like 5 or 5:30. So when you go to check out, at least for my Met station or the hotel we stay at, I don't know about anybody else's, but for ours, you don't check out at the like regular just checkout counter, or like you know what I mean. You don't check out there. They have a little table set up in the middle of the lobby, and you go and just like hand in your key with your room number and all that other stuff. They just like mark it off like they got it. So you just check out there. And then we had to go to the bar of the hotel and sit there and wait for someone to come in and like tell us what we're supposed to do next. After that, we went into the restaurant in the hotel and ate breakfast and all that lovely stuff. When they told us to, we had to line up long. And we had to wait for this huge charter bus to take us over to the Met station. When we got to the Met station, you had to go into the cafeteria or whatever, the break room or the lunch room, whatever you call it. We went in there. There's a PowerPoint, and they go over what you're doing throughout the day, what to expect, the rules, the safety procedures, and all that stuff. They go over all that. You go to the medical room. The girls and guys are obviously separate, and you go through your medical. You go through an eye examination, you have to do a blood test, you have to do urinalysis, you have to talk to a doctor, just because they go over your like medical papers and stuff like that. Just to, like talk to you about that. You have to talk to a doctor for that. You have to do a hearing test. Oh, you have to have a breathalyzer. Be prepared for that one. Don't drink at the hotel. So you have to have a breathalyzer. For the girls, we had to go into this room, fill out a bunch of paperwork. Just like yes, no questions. You sign it, and blah blah blah. And then you have to like strip down to your bra and underwear, and you have to like walk like all these different ways just so they can check like your feet and your knees and your back and your all that crap. You have to get measured, like your height, and you have to get weighed. You have to see a special like a doctor, so they like check your heart and your lungs and all that stuff. Or they make you take off your bra and underwear. You have to put on a paper gown like you wear at like the doctor or the hospital or wherever else. You put on this like paper gown thing, and you go into to see this doctor. You have to sit up on the table, and they do a breath examination, and they check your private area to make sure that you are a girl, for sure that you have a vagina and not a penis. That's really it, I guess. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, but I might be, so if I am, I'm sorry. But just be prepared to be partially naked. Be prepared to be felt up, because they actually do like a breast examination. I don't know why, but they do. Be prepared for needles, because you have to like give blood. Be prepared for peeing in a cup, because you have to pee in a cup. When you get done with your medical, you go give your completed folder to your job, like your branch. Obviously, I took mine to the Navy, and you go into the waiting room of the branch room, and you sit there for a really long time because they have a lot of people to get through. Like you sit there for a really long time, and you talk to a job classifier, you finalize paperwork, you do a background check. But luckily, when you're sitting right there, you can have your cell phone, so you have something to do. So it's not too terrible, but it still sucks. And then when you finally pick your job, like whenever you're given your job and you sign your finalized papers and your contract and all that crap, you got to the main lobby, the control center, and you wait for your group that you're with to take the oath. When you go to take your oath, they take you into like a little like classroom thing, and they tell like the procedure of taking the oath. They go over that. They go over some stuff about like homosexuality in the military, sexual harassment, some other stuff like that. They go over that, and then you go into the room and you line up and you practice. Going from parade rest to attention, putting your arm up and all that stuff. You practice all that, and whoever's like giving you the oath finally comes in and you take it and all that stuff. And then after that, you pretty much are free to go home. That was my MEPS experience. I don't know if anyone else is different, or if you're going to MEPS and like if you haven't gone yet, and it is different from what I said. I'm really sorry if I forgot anything. I'm sorry, but it's late, and this was like 8 months ago, something like that, and I just kind of don't remember a lot. Alright, the next thing I'm going to talk about is my rate, which is my job. My job is aviation structural mechanic, which is abbreviated to AM. The job title is actually pretty self-explanatory. Aviation, which is a plane, structural, which is the body of it, and all that stuff. Mechanic. At MEPS, I was given this, your job card. So I'll just read what it is off that. Aviation structural mechanics maintain all aircraft, main and auxiliary hydraulic power systems, actuating subsystems, and landing gear, responsible for maintenance on the aircraft fuselage, wings, foils, and associated fixed and movable surfaces, and flight controls. So you're working on planes, the bodies of planes, and all that stuff. But it sucks though, because when I went to MEPS, I didn't have a choice but to take this job. When I sat down with the job classifier, she handed me this piece of paper, and she told me to read over it to see if it was a job that I was interested in. So I read over it, and it really didn't seem too interesting to me. So I had asked her, I was like, is there anything else available? And she told me no, if I didn't take this job, then I would be put on the waiting list for a job that I was interested in to open, or I could come back to maths at another time and hope that I would get a different job. Well, first of all, I didn't want to wait. I just wanted to get my shift date so I knew like when I was leaving. Second of all, I did not want to go back through maths. So I just took the job. But the good thing is that you can request to reclass, which is like switch jobs. So I talked to my recruiter and I told him what I originally wanted or what I was originally interested in. So we put in a request form to have me reclass. For the longest time, I was told that I wouldn't get the job, that there was no hope because nothing was available. But that is my rate. Alright, the last thing I want to talk about is what I'm doing until I ship out. I'm studying my start guide, which is what you're given at METS. It's pretty much all the stuff that you need to learn before you go to METS. So what I'm doing is pretty much just studying this. What I've done to help me study is I've made flashcards, lots and lots of flashcards. See how thick that is? A lot. All these. I'm working out. I'm working on push-up, sit-ups, and eventually I'll get around to running. Also, while you are waiting to ship out, you have to attend DEP meetings, which are delayed entry program meetings. Other than like Navy stuff, I'm just kind of enjoying my time with my friends and family and my boyfriend before I leave. I'm just making the best of it. It's pretty much all I'm doing until I ship out. But I highly, highly, highly suggest learning this stuff before you go. At least what I've been told, it'll make it so much easier when you just read the start guide because it will tell you what to expect. Like it's really important stuff that you should know when you go to basic. And don't like procrastinate on it because it'll just like kick your butt in the long run. But, like I've had 7 months to learn this stuff and I didn't take the opportunity to do it. So now I'm kind of cramming because it's a lot to learn. It really is. Yeah, just study and work out and enjoy your time with your friends, family, and whoever else. Thanks for watching.